朋友们，最新消息，3月9号夜间，以色列特拉维夫上空上演了惊人一幕，一枚伊朗的弹道导弹在高空分解，近100个子弹头如烟花一般散落，以色列密集的防空网根本无法全量的拦截，这标志着伊朗的反击力度正式升级。而同一天，伊朗革命卫队直接放话，以后只打1吨以上弹头的导弹，频率、范围和射程全都增加。而美国那边呢，川普竟然突然宣称战争基本结束，说伊朗已经没了海军、通信和空军。与此同时呢，美军也承认死亡人数在上升，同时还公布打击了5000多个目标。而伊朗呢，则反击毁掉了科威特的美军直升机基地。一连串的新闻看下来，这一场战的真实情况其实已经露底了。美以为能够速胜，结果现在打成了僵局。伊朗呢要死磕到底，而美国却想跑路了。这盘棋现在是彻底的乱了。现在的这一场战争它最核心的真相是，美以已经打不动了，已经进入僵局，谁也搞不死谁。但是双方承受能力那是不一样的。对伊朗来说，这是生死之战；对教士集团和革命卫队来说，这是政权保卫战，所以他们要死磕到底，绝不投降。可是以色列和美国还在继续挨揍呢，新的领袖一波接一波的攻击他们，以色列人的民生设施现在也被波及，停水、停电、停网。再这么下去，伊朗人不造反，以色列人可就要造反了。而美军现在士兵不断的伤亡，军费天天在烧，除了川普一堆自吹自擂的赢学废话，什么实际利益都没拿到。在这场僵局里伊朗是光脚的，美以是穿鞋的。可是光脚的不怕穿鞋的，穿鞋的却扛不住无休止的消耗。那伊朗这边损失如何呢？美军身上砸了5000多个目标，军事和民生设施都受到了重创。但是伊朗肯定是没有任何退路的，一旦低头，整个体系就会崩塌，他们是没有回头路的，所以只能干到底。伊朗的军工体系在制裁下早就自给自足，导弹无人机是源源不断，新领导层上台之后，反击力度也是只增不减。外部打击越猛，内部反而越团结，造反的可能性基本为零了。而现在最想跑路的并不是别人，正是美国。川普已经非常明显的想要撤退了。这几天他一直嚷嚷着，在各种场合都在说战争已经结束了，伊朗被打得有多么惨。实际上这就是在给撤军营造舆论宣传。他天天说我们已经赢麻了呀，这就是为了让自己真的撤退时没那么难看。川普的撤军心思已经写在了脸上，明明白白，藏都藏不住。老美发动这场战争呢，本来是想重塑中东霸权，掌控霍尔木兹海峡，结果现在目标一个都没实现，反而把自己陷在里面。川普开始找台阶下，淡化战争存在感，所有动作都在指向同一个结果，赶紧走。商人出身的他最懂及时止损，这场赔本买卖他是不想再做下去了。我们其实已经可以说，战争已经进入垃圾时间，并且接近尾声了。除此之外，大家发现没有，其实从战争一开始之后以色列内塔尼亚胡就非常的安静。我很少看到他在干什么，说了什么的新闻。其次呢，美国那边除了川普，他的几个贴身的护法也不见了。万斯、卢比奥和贝森特全都不说话，尤其是万斯，几个公开场合都不见他参加，这就很异常了。因为对这一批马屁精来说跟着川普摇旗呐喊，这才是他们的本职工作。川普一意孤行要打伊朗，这么好的表忠心机会，为什么不好好把握呢？那只有一个原因，这帮人他天天能看到美军的战斗简报，他们知道真实的战场损失是多少，美军打得太烂了，根本就赢不了。更可怕的是，川普也没有打不下去之后怎么办的 B 计划。现在他的支持率是下降了很多，其中选举也是泡汤了。 所以啊，对这帮马屁精来说，川普啊已经从宝宝真棒变成了你这个瘟神离我远一点。川宝啊心里想，哎呀，宝宝还真的是苦啊，宝宝也是冤啊。虽说我很冲动，但是当初说打伊朗也是你们支持我的，给我分析啊打的好处，说伊朗一打就崩，很简单。况且呢，我也只是执行人物，真正决定打不打的还是背后的势力啊。结果现在你们都让我背锅了，凭什么？而你们说要打，现在也打了，打不下去就全溜了啊，烂摊子都扔给我，哎，去你妈的啊！老子不玩了，班师回朝，反正我自己宣称赢麻了就行了。其实啊，我们现在看新闻啊，也能发现，川普现在已经老了很多。他第一任时啊，经常能看到他底气十足的在那里啊指点江山，豪言壮语，而现在你看他只是一个有气无力、愁眉苦脸的老头。以前呢是淡淡的金发，现在是满头的白发，也不知道呢是自然蜕变还是懒得去染发了。那如果是后者，那就更糟糕了，因为只有一个人生活工作一团糟时，他才会不重视形象，破罐子破摔。想来啊，川普为祖国埋伏多年啊，也真的是辛苦了，在人生的最后时刻拼尽全力把美国啊拖下水，为祖国发展再护送一程，这样的川宝值得我们去点赞。
Where is Mr. J.D. Vance these days? Mr. No More Forever Wars. I voted for Donald Trump because he is the only one who understands how awful it was that America started all of these wars and we must never start any more wars. Have you seen him recently? Is he there with you? Because he's not here in Washington.
He's not here with me. The thing with J.D. Vance, and again, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I sort of am patting myself on the back because I told you J.D. Vance, like in the movie Fargo, is going to go through the wood chipper. And so conspicuously,
gross.
No, conspicuously not in the room during the Venezuelan thing, conspicuously not at Mar-a-Lago during the Iranian invasion. And, you know, he said, oh, my God, we got to set up some mock-up situation where he's sitting there looking like a bozo in some kind of photo op in another situation room that has nothing to do with the real situation room.
Power center.
Yeah, exactly. It's this sort of nonsense. And he's doing things, right? He headlined at that fundraiser. He went out to go with 50 people. You probably saw that in the paper with Donald Trump Jr. They had 50 people give him $100,000 each. It was a very lucrative fundraiser for them all. But I think Vance is in big trouble with Donald Trump. I think he has been completely and totally sidelined.
On this issue, but
generally Trump wants nothing to do with him. Now, on the other thing, okay, the eagle that is soaring right now is Little Marco. Okay, Little Marco is almost like a clay pigeon caddy, you know, like, and it's up in the air right now, and he's soaring, and Trump's telling you he's the greatest Secretary of State in the world. And in 6 months, click, click, kaboom, okay, the clay pigeon is going to burst in the sky, and Donald Trump is going to eviscerate Little Marco. Okay, so that's going to happen as well, because Trump honestly cannot, and I repeat, he honestly cannot help himself. And somebody said to me here in Dublin last night, I was at an event, who does Trump want to be his successor?
Nobody.
Okay, thank you, Catty K. So I answered with Gavin Newsom, and they went, oh,
a Democrat.
I said, well, hear me out. You guys were nobody before I got here. Now you're somebody, but only because of me. And oh, by the way, when I leave, you're going to be nobody. Okay, and that's what's going on here. So J.D. Vance, bye-bye. Okay, now, what J.D. Vance did, which I found very interesting, Catty, and I want you to react to it, he had his staffers leak to the press that he wasn't for the strike.
Yeah.
Didn't help him with Trump, but he's trying to get a pole position in place for the 2028. So react to that, please.
So he didn't even just leak it to the press. He wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal back in 2024 in which he said his primary reason for supporting Trump had been that he started no wars. In October of 2024, he said, our interest, I think, very much is not going to war with Iran. He doesn't even need to leak it to the press. I mean, he's been quite blunt about this. And to the extent that he represents the anti-interventionist wing of the Republican Party, which he clearly does and is the champion of, that wing is losing at the moment. The Steve Bannon wing, the J.D. Vance wing, they're the ones that are not being able to restrain the president. They couldn't stop him from Venezuela. They couldn't stop him from doing Iran. And now J.D. is in the position where he's having to go out and talk to some of these anti-interventionists, and he has had to come out in public, which he's done, and sell the administration's line. But as he does that, he's losing some of his political capital with that group. So he is having to spend his own political capital. I mean, he's in a you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. He's got to spend his political capital with that group to defend the administration's actions in Iran, knowing that if he's going to run in 2028, he's going to need their support, and they are now a little bit disappointed with him. A reminder to J.D. Vance, you can't win here. You can't be half pregnant. You can't be half MAGA. You have to be kind of full MAGA. It's a bit like John Cornyn, we spoke about him in Texas. You've got to be 100% on board.
So in 1960, on the eve of the election, at a press conference, one of Eisenhower's last press conferences, the press raised their hand and said, Mr. Nixon is running for president. In the last 8 years, could you please tell me an achievement of his in your two administrations? And Eisenhower looked at the guy and said, if you give me a week, I'll think about it. Okay. And it was like literally like a Scud missile going into Nixon's campaign headquarters. Trump did a number. He did a number on J.D. Vance. Said differently, he hit him with a karate chop into the Adam's apple, Caddy. He said, and I quote, it didn't take much persuading of J.D. Vance, because the press went to him and said, the vice president has expressed reservations of going to this war. And Trump just went right at him and demeaned him.
And takes away the invitation to come down to Mar-a-Lago as the war is starting.
Exactly. And so, by the way, JD, that was a sign of disloyalty.
I agree with that.
And here's the thing, okay, because JD actually had some chops on this. He's a former Marine. He was in the wars. He had some chops on this, and he had some gravitas on this.
And a long history. You know, there's video for everything, right? There's video and op-eds for everything. Vance did do an interview with Fox News. Here's what he said. The president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish. There's just no way Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. That is J.D. Vance trying to talk out of both sides of his mouth. In the first part of that, he's trying to say, Donald Trump, you're right. You know, he's done exactly the right thing. Not that we think Donald Trump has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish, because he clearly hasn't. And then in the second part of that, he's saying to his non-interventionist base, don't worry, this is not a forever war. And please forgive me for the position that I'm in.
How's that going to work out for him, Caddy?
That's going to work out really well.
Can you hear the wood chipper in the background? Can you hear the wood chipper? It's right outside my window by the Seance studio. Can you hear it?
You know why it doesn't work out? Because we live in an era where there is no forgiveness for people not being authentic. There is no room for
100%.
People in this communications world, in this age of populism, particularly, you have to be somebody that the people believe you are. That's why Donald Trump gets away with it.
100%.
Donald Trump can say 50 different things at once and have 50 different positions on something, but he is who he is.
Yeah, he's consistently mad.
He's consistently inconsistent. J.D. Vance is trying to make a coherent position, but revealing himself as trying to satisfy everybody. And in this world, you can't try and please everybody.